We have tons of things to get done today, and we're picking off right where we left off yesterday. I'm gonna go ahead and start the right-hand side of the door. And while I'm doing that, Mickey is now creating AN fittings for all the fuel lines, and he's starting off by making flanges and doing some crimping things. I did this on my brake lines on the BRZ a while ago.
Yeah, so we're gonna retain the stock fuel lines, so we've gone ahead and removed the rubber hoses that were on them, cut the expanded ends off, and we've got these nice AN adapters that will require a crimp. Put this on, crimp that down. This goes on in the dash 5 to dash 6 step up, and dash 6 AN fittings to the fuel system. So this will be the front end, and then we got a bunch to do in the back too.
Before I put this right door panel back on, I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up. And to do that, I'm gonna use some of this back to black trim and plastic restorer from Mother's.
In all seriousness,
Last night I added this inner door trim and I put on this like over fender piece, I guess you would call it. I'm not even quite sure. Before we put this panel back on, I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the door jamb trim as well. This one is brand new, never been used before. I'm getting a lot of enjoyment out of these brand new parts. Moving on to the outside of the door. This window trim looks good right here, but if you go to this side, you could see that it's like lost its clip that holds it down right here, and it's like fraying up and just doesn't look good. So you already know, we got a brand new OEM one from Mazda. We're gonna go ahead and take off this door handle right here, take off this piece, take off the mirror, and then replace that. I don't think so. Yep. Shout out to my favorite thing in the world, and that's removing old crusty trim. Look at all the, ooh, gross. Gone, see ya, wouldn't wanna be ya, baby. Next, I have to remove this bottom piece, which it's a little more tricky because there's plastic clips in here and you wanna do your best not to destroy all them. Ooh, 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 ooh. Door handle assembly back on. I have the mirror all lined up with all the new door trims. That's looking really good. Before I go ahead and put this new panel in, I want to replace one of these speakers with the higher quality speakers that we have. And it's somewhere lost in the shop, and I think Mickey knows where it is, so I'm gonna wait till he gets back. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these ugly purple tints we've had on the car. I've been waiting to take this off for a pretty long time. So we have one on this right-hand side door, and then we have it on this back glass. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do it, so Evan's actually gonna give us a little how-to method on how to do this. I've done this once before in my BRZ, probably like 2 years ago. If you guys remember, I got a window tint ticket, and when I took those off my BRZ, I actually just used a heat gun, and it was, for me, it came off pretty easy and didn't leave any residue or anything like this. But Mickey and Evan have both told me that they're pretty sure that if I try and do that with this lower quality tint, it's just gonna leave a bunch of goo and crap behind. So we're gonna do this method today. So what exactly is this?
It's a steamer for your clothes. Chelsea, don't be mad at me. Essentially, you're gonna use this steam on the old adhesive, and that should separate it in one piece. So the problem that most people have is when you try to remove tint, you'll remove off the film, but not the adhesive, and then you'll have to scrape the film off and the adhesive like separately. And on a rear windshield, you have the rear defroster, so you can't really take a razor blade to scrape all that because you don't want to damage these.
You can see the edge of the tint right here. Should we start towards that? Can I get it with my hand, or should I get like a knife or something?
I have the right razor blade Mickey's picking up right now.
Okay.
But we should be able to get just the pick of the edge with this. Okay.
Whoa!
Okay, so you see that though? That's now separated in two pieces. So that's what you don't want to happen. So we need to just kind of get in here. That's why the other blade is definitely better. There's the second piece, right? That one's coming off as well. We just need to get it to come off in one piece.
Okay, I see it.
See that? I'm just trying to make it easier on myself so I can have a little bit more to grab.
I'm moving on to the front windshield because that one is proving to be the world's biggest pain in the ass. And I'm having better luck with this front window. It's hard because you have to get it all in one piece and you can't let it separate into two pieces, which is what it wants to do. So I'm retrying on this side. I'll give you guys an update when I make any progress. This is very slow and very boring. I finally got it all off. Now I'm just reheating it back up to try and get some of the residue that was left over on there. I found that little like glue residue is actually pretty easy to get off if you like heat it up, get it nice and hot and wet. That sounded gross. And then it comes off pretty easy. This is extremely frustrating. That's as far as I'm gonna get. That method just isn't doing its job on this window. I'm thinking the reason why it is so hard is because this is like what absorbed most of the sun because it's facing directly at the sun. So it's extremely brittle and it's just not peeling away like the other window did. I'm gonna research some ways on YouTube, maybe find a better way, or if any of you have any experience on how to get rid of this problem, comment it down below. I'll be looking for some of your guys' answers. Mickey finished up these fuel lines. He flitted them all out and put AN fittings on the back of them. So that is all ready to go. And we also have these new fittings that go on the secondary. So, ooh, these aren't tight yet, but that's where they're gonna be sitting. So now, boys, by the title of this video, this is probably why you clicked on it. We're gonna put the motor in the car for the first time. Hopefully we don't need to take it out in the future for anything, but we're pretty sure that we are safe to go ahead and do it. We probably could go maybe a couple more days and finish some things up in the bay. But as you guys know, we're antsy to put this in, we're antsy to see it in there. And because this is such a small motor, it's actually pretty easy to work around all of this stuff. Hopefully in our minds, we don't think it'll make that big of a difference. Damn, let's just admire this one more time if this is the last time we see the bay like this. The steering rack, look, I can literally rub the steering rack and not have any crap on my hands. I can touch everything down here and my hands are clean, and I don't have any car at the moment, or have I ever had a car that is like that. I'm just sitting here admiring, boys. That's all we're doing here. But here we go. This is a big day for us.
We'll start bringing it down.
Slowly. I need to make sure the wastegate doesn't hit anything. This is the most nerve-wracking thing ever. If that falls, I would be a very sad boy. It's not completely in yet, but we've threaded the motor mount, so we just gotta stick a bolt in there. But guys, oh my God. This is the first look of it in our car. We haven't seen this in like 2 months since we were in New Zealand. It's just insane how small this is. The turbo literally looks like half the width of the motor when you see it from this angle. Like, look at it in the camera, Mick.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm just taking a moment here to just stare at this for a second.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. This is pretty good. This is like a year in the making to get to this point. It's so tidy too. Like, look at how close all that's. It's not even, well, it's not bolted in quite yet, but just like seeing the fit and finish here. Look at the wastegate. I just got my bolt in that motor mount, and right now Mickey is trying to get his side in.
Which hole are you on?
I'm on the high setting.
I think we got it.
You kind of have to just like shove it and wiggle it.
There's just no fucking room.
You don't have as much room on your side, huh?
No.
Do you need me to pull the motor anyway?
I think we're good. I'm just trying to find where the hole actually yeah, it doesn't come my way. If you can push.
Yeah, I'll push you.
But there's not much to give. Oh, you know what?
Huh?
I can move the bracket.
Damn, son. Thing is puny. All right, so now our next step is we need to secure the motor mounts on the subframe and put nuts on the, wait, you're gonna raise it already?
Yeah, so everybody understands, we have an aftermarket motor mount setup. It has two U-shaped brackets that mount to the subframe. And our new motor mounts are actually machined aluminum, which I showed you in a previous video with urethane bushings. So it's a little different mounting setup, and everything's modular, so it moves around a lot. So right now this engine could be sitting a little crooked, or let's say not square in the frame rail. So what we're gonna do is put the car up, and we wanna get some measurements off of the oil pan and the bottom of the engine, which is actually square to the frame rails, and get this thing sitting in there just right, and then we'll tighten all the bolts down.
So you wanna go up? Damn, that's exciting, baby! Made big steps today, big improvements. This is our final positioning of where the motor is going to sit in the car. Still needs to get tightened down just a little bit more, but for the most part, I think this is where it's going to sit. We have this on the high setting just to be safe. From underneath the car, it doesn't look like it's sitting on anything, but putting it lower, it looks like there's not really enough room. And clearance on both sides is pretty good. Initially, we had a little worry because when we had this in the car in New Zealand, everything there is switched on the other side. So the actual, like, the steering column went through on the other side and it thread through the wastegate. And we were scared that maybe we wouldn't have room on this side because it was on the opposite side, but everything seemed to fit just fine, didn't run into any issues. So it looks pretty good. There's still a lot to be done, but this was a big step and I'm super happy we achieved it today.
And I'm feeling good.